Welcome into the Wiltfong Whiparound with Steve Wiltfong. I am your host, Josh Newberg, and this is our Thanksgiving Day edition. So as you guys prepare your feast, or hey, maybe you're sitting down and you got the Wiltfong Whiparound right on the table and you're eating, you don't want to talk to the family, so you're watching the Wiltfong Whiparound. I get it. We're here for you. We are under 7 days till signing day, right? Signing day is next Wednesday, and here we come, another busy weekend. You guys have been watching the channel all week, so you know there's been a ton of major developments happening. So today, we got Steve Wiltfong here, the #1 insider in the entire country. So you guys just sit back, get caught up on everything that's happening right now. 20, 30 minutes, we'll have you in, we'll have you out. So let's get it going. All right, let's bring in the great Steve Wiltfong. And of course, we're starting with Ohio State. Michigan's coming to town, and there's a big visit weekend. Steve, it seems like Ohio State recruiting is kind of wild right now. It seems like they're a prize fighter in the middle of the ring, just throwing haymakers. I mean, they're trying to flip the #1 offensive tackle, David Sanders. Meanwhile, London Merritt decommits. Naeem Alford might be trending away. TJ Alford might be sticking. Maybe he's flipping. Like, Ohio State just has a whole lot going on, but you know where we're going to start. David Sanders. What's the latest on Tennessee commitment? David Sanders coming off of this visit to Ohio State. What do you got?
Well, I think he's trying to figure it out. I'm told that he's going to take the Thanksgiving holiday to talk with his parents about his future at Tennessee or potentially Ohio State. This trip to Ohio State this past weekend gave him a lot to think about. And then certainly with Tennessee, the place he's been committed to since August, he's got a lot of love for the Vols too. So as this recruitment comes down the stretch, they're going to take this Turkey Day to sit back and kind of reflect on everything and discuss what his future looks like at both places. And they've had dialogue with both schools all week and trying to make a final decision.
Wow. So here we come down to the wire. David Sanders making a final decision. Do you think that David Sanders is going to make a visit this final weekend?
Well, I would just say I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Nothing confirmed, nothing locked in, but obviously Ohio State plays a big-time game against Michigan on Saturday, and they would love to get David Sanders back to campus one more time before he decides. Get him around the recruits again, get him around the players, get him around the staff, get him in that atmosphere again for one of the biggest rivalry games in college football.
Am I making too big a deal out of this? David Sanders shows back up in Columbus. I mean, are all the signs pointing to a flip at that point?
Well, if you go by the old rule of follow the visits, but I think with David Sanders, he's been to Tennessee so many times that if he doesn't take a visit this weekend, he could still flip to Ohio State. And if he does visit Ohio State this weekend, he could still stick with Tennessee.
All right. We said Ohio State's in the middle of the ring throwing haymakers. Will Jakeem Stewart, the 5-star defensive lineman, one of the only uncommitted 5-stars in the country, will he be on campus this weekend? Because there's also a lot of smoke around the USC Trojans right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if he visited LSU one more time and USC one more time ahead of next week's early signing period and did not visit Ohio State this weekend.
All right. Keep an eye out on that one. That's big news. Ohio State getting a key commit back on campus and TJ Alford. There's a couple more, actually. Jarquez Carter, Quincy Porter. But I want to talk about TJ Alford because it seemed like he was trending to the Miami Hurricanes, but he's expected back in Columbus. What does that mean to you?
I think it means that Ohio State's in there battling to keep TJ Alford in the fold, and they've had a lot of meaningful conversations as of late, and I'm hearing on my end that those have been strong conversations and wouldn't be surprised if he sticks. Now, Miami's still battling for TJ Alford, but Ohio State, kind of similar to the end of last cycle where they had some big wins at the end, keeping Edric Houston in the fold, holding off everybody for Jeremiah J.J. Smith. They're battle tested and they're going to war for TJ Alford and want to keep him in the fold.
All right, Steve. Well, before we get out of this segment, we got to give our predictions for Ohio State, Michigan. Who you got, Steve?
Buckeyes win. Buckeyes come to Indianapolis next weekend to take on Oregon for the Big Ten Championship.
Ooh, wow. I got a close one, but in the end, I think, Bryce Underwood comes in the fourth quarter, leads Michigan to the win. Oh, wait, that's next year. This year, though, I got Ohio State. All right. Let's talk quarterback developments here down the stretch. Only a week until signing day. And last week, we saw a ton of movement at the position. Remember, Tramel Jones, he flipped from Florida State to Florida. Julian Lewis made it official, committing to Colorado. And then later in the day, of course, Bryce Underwood flipping his commitment from LSU to Michigan. And now I got a question for Steve Wiltfong. Will there be another QB flip before it's all done? Let's talk first about UNC quarterback Bryce Baker. You know, with Mac Brown, the announcement of him getting fired, you alluded to it on the last show. Watch Bryce Baker's recruitment, and now he's taking a visit. Where will he be this weekend?
Well, Mac Brown being let go came as a huge surprise to Bryce Baker and his family, as well as just about anybody else that follows college football. North Carolina on a bit of a heater right now. And look, during the fall, there were some times where programs were hovering around Bryce Baker, and Mac Brown and that coaching staff said, why don't you come back this weekend and just see how the rest of the season plays out? And they've been on a bit of a run right now, and Baker looked locked in. He's excited to play for Coach Lindsey and Coach Brown. Then they get hit with Mac Brown getting fired. Mm-hmm. They're still hopeful that Coach Lindsey remains on the coaching staff moving forward in some shape or form, but they're getting some plan Bs and maybe some plan Cs together. And that plan B starts with Penn State. Penn State has been recruiting him hard all fall. They're going to get him to campus this weekend. He's familiar with that coaching staff. Now going to get up to Happy Valley for the season finale against Maryland. And as things transpire with North Carolina, Penn State's got a chance here to make them feel comfortable in State College. And they're obviously the team to watch outside of North Carolina with LSU, another program to maybe keep an eye on.
All right, so we'll see down the stretch with him. Now, the next quarterback, the news here is he's not taking a visit. Cal quarterback commitment Jaron Key Sagapolu-Telly is not going to visit Georgia this weekend, and he also said he's down to 2 finalists. Steve, break this down.
Yeah, I talked to Jaron this week. He was back at Cal where he's been committed since the summer this past weekend for the Stanford game. That was not him trying to steal the helmet and getting destroyed by the equipment manager. But he was the one getting all the love from the Cal staff as the potential quarterback of the future for this program. He sees an opportunity to play right away. They want to make him the franchise and build around him, and he's excited about that. And the staff has shown him a lot of love before any of these other programs have come in at the end and tried to flip him. Oregon is a place of great intrigue for him still. Took his official visit a few weeks ago, talked with the Oregon staff last night. The Ducks still remain a threat to flip him from Cal, but I could also see Jaron sticking with his longtime commitment to Cal. This one's going down to the wire. Oregon pushing hard to get him in the fold. Cal doing what they can to hang on.
Yeah, really going down to it. All right, now On3's number 1 quarterback in the 2026 class. We're going to talk about Jared Curtis. He's been taking some visits. He's named Oregon as the team that's out in front for him early. But this weekend, he's going to be back in Oxford to see Ole Miss play. What do you think of the Rebels' shot at landing number 1 quarterback Jared Curtis?
How about Jared Curtis in the couple of weeks that he's having? He won the semifinal last week. He's playing in the state championship next weekend. This weekend, after eating some turkey, he's going to go to the Egg Bowl on Friday, and then he's going to go to the Iron Bowl on Saturday. He was just at Georgia. And look, Oregon may be his leader, but all these programs are going to get multiple chances to host him. He said he wants to go back in the spring. He wants to take his summer official visits. And Ole Miss is in that top 5 right now, and Alabama's in that top 5 right now. I would put them behind Oregon and Georgia. So this is a weekend for both the Rebels and the Crimson Tide to potentially make a move for Jared Curtis.
All right, guys, let us know. Talk to Steve and I. Do you think that we're going to see another quarterback flip before signing day? Let us know who you think it could be. Comment section below. Last weekend, Colorado got a huge commitment from Julian Lewis, lit up the recruiting world, and now Coach Prime wants to put the final touches on this 2025 high school class. We got some big names to talk about, but before we get into it, Colorado fans, do me a favor, hit subscribe to the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube, the On3 Recruits channel. All right, Steve, the big news yesterday was that edge London Merritt decommits from Ohio State, and I see you were quick to put in a prediction. What do you think about the Colorado Buffs' chances to land Merritt?
Well, we've been talking about it on Whiparound, Josh. We liked where Colorado was sitting prior to the decommitment. Love where the Buffs are sitting after the decommitment. The opportunity to play early for a coaching staff with a lot of pro pedigree really excites London Merritt. He visited for a game earlier this fall than 2 weeks ago, returned for a midweek visit where he got a chance to attend practice and see what a day in the life of a Colorado football player was like, not on a game weekend. Everything pointing towards him signing up to play for Deion Sanders and that coaching staff.
But Steve, the way that you talk, it sounds like London Merritt might not be the last high school player that Coach Prime adds to this class before it's all over.
No, Alexander McPherson just decommitted from Oklahoma State, the IMG's leading pass rusher the last 2 seasons. He's also looking at NC State, but my on-3 RPM is on Colorado following his decommitment from Oklahoma State on Tuesday.
And then we got Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng. Thought he was going to show up at Texas, and maybe the Longhorns were going to make this interesting down the stretch, but he did not last week. So how are you reading this recruitment as it stands 7 days out from signing day?
Well, it's 50-50 between Colorado and Michigan per a source with knowledge of the recruitment. I could very much see him at Colorado as well, a place where he sees an opportunity to be a day one starter, again, for a program that's very exciting right now with a coaching staff that's got a lot of experience. But Michigan, he's been there several times. Every visit, he feels at home, comfortable around that coaching staff, loves the direction of this program under Sharon Moore and company. So he could end up donning a winged helmet as well. That one's a real war down the stretch.
All right, now the big man, offensive tackle, Carday Smith, he decommitted from USC about 2 weeks ago now, and he has announced that he's going to set a date for December 4th. That's on the early signing day, so he's going to make his announcement. We feeling good about Colorado here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely love that prediction that I have in for Colorado for Carday Smith. And then Quentin Gibson, we've talked about him several times too. He's a receiver from the Lone Star State, Fort Worth, North Crowley High School. Colorado loves him, and he's got Colorado in his lead group at the end alongside places like SMU and Mississippi State.
It just feels like Colorado has a ton of momentum right now on the trail, and we're hearing from some guys like a Donovan Murph out of South Carolina, the wide receiver. He's saying that, hey, I might want to go check out Colorado one time before I make my final decision. Do you think that we could see more interest from some recruits that have never visited Colorado that might maybe even delay their recruitment so they can get out to Boulder and check it out one time before?
Colorado, they got a chance to win their 9th game on Friday against Oklahoma State. It's a 10 a.m. kick, so it's hard to get recruits there. But what this season has done is proven to prospects and guys that are going to be in the transfer portal that Colorado can quickly get you ready to play and play at a high level. They want to win 10 games. They want to win their bowl game. They want to beat the Cowboys. And one of my favorite metrics of saying like a program's culture is better than another is when their best players play in the bowl game. And we've seen Nick Saban and Kirby Smart teams not make the college football playoff or the Final Four or whatever they were playing for, and then they would play in the Peach Bowl. They didn't want to be there, but they would hang 60-something points on Florida State. Where on the flip side, Florida State didn't want to be there. Their players didn't play. It means a lot for these players to put that jersey on one more time, no matter the game. And so there's levels. That doesn't mean you don't have a great culture if your best players don't play, but I'm just saying there's levels. And Colorado's best players are anticipated to play in the bowl game, and that's something that resonates when recruits are on campus. And Colorado's going to go into the portal again heavy after the season with a potentially 10-win football team or 9 wins going on 10. I think this season has really shown people what they can do in Boulder, and certainly playing for a very charismatic head coach like Deion Sanders was already attractive, but now there's some results in the pudding.
Absolutely. So Colorado fans, talk to us. You got to be feeling great about where the program sits heading into this offseason. But what are the final pieces you want to see added to this class? Talk to us. Let us know. Comment section below.